Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Cronkite Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the house, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetri Kate, and I am the 5-star general. Say, man, Bobby Charles, Melanie Lyon. We got some updates for you. We're going to go in on it. But I can tell you this. There's something seriously wrong with the wholesale murder of our black babies. Let's get to it, man. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone and tell you thank you for tuning in. Without you guys, we would not have a show. So we really appreciate you taking time out to hang out with us every single night. And I'm going to start it off by saying, man, that I want to thank all the people so far that have donated to my campaign. We were able to pull off something major today. We ain't going to talk about it, but we were able to pay for something major today that we needed to pay for. And that puts us a little bit further ahead in the game. And I'm going to tell you something. When it come November, you're going to have to beat me. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to have to beat me because I'm ready. I'm ready this time. Well, I'm going to start it off with some news that's kind of crazy. African dude down in Harris County was arrested this week because he swindled a lady out of North Texas out of $100,000. Well, how did he do it? The man had the woman thinking he was Bruno Mars and he needed money while he was on tour. What tour is Bruno on right now? Man, did they put a wall up? Did Trump get to put a wall up for them folk from Africa coming over here with that foolishness, man? Man, come on, man. 100 G's. She was looking for companionship on YouTube. On Instagram. Well, guess what? You really paid a whole lot for the dick on this one. Donovan, what's happening?
Oh man, you these stories, it's incredible, man. The stuff that goes on, it just goes on. She's gonna pay $100,000 to a man that already has, money. You're on tour, he's gonna make money while he's on the tour. So common sense just isn't so common, but not a lot in the news today. As you guys know, President Donald Trump, he started the impeachment case has started. They have voted to say that the impeachment is constitutional. Again, it happened with Secretary of War Belknap back in the Grant administration. So there's a precedent set. We got to remember, impeachment and this whole process has nothing to do with law. This is a purely political situation. So it really has nothing to do with the Constitution. That's why the Supreme Court hasn't ruled in on it, and they can't rule in on it because this is political. They make up their own rules. So even if Trump gets convicted, it doesn't mean anything. Put it like this. Let's say there is no impeachment and Trump runs again. After 4 years of his bullshit, do you actually think he's going to win re-election? Possibly, if people fall back the fuck to sleep. But you're talking about 81 million people voted and 74 million people voted, which is half of the United States. So think about this. Half of the United States actually voted in the last election. So, but real quick, out of the blue news, how many of you guys heard of the lady that put the Gorilla Glue on her head? 40-year-old woman. She ran out of the regular glue, the setting glue that most sisters are probably familiar with, and she used Gorilla Glue, which is an industrial glue that's the truth. And now she is seeking legal remedy of suing somebody because she put Gorilla Glue on her head, and it's been, her hairstyle's been like that for like a month. It's like a helmet now, and she is doing her thing. But
she going off the wall to water.
What's up, Demetria?
So hello, everybody. I hope you're having a fabulous Tuesday. I know that I am been very busy, but I am here. If you could do us a favor before we get started and that share this live so that everybody else can get the information and join in on the conversation. And again, please share because Gary's other page is on hiatus for like 30 days. And so we need you guys to get the information out that we are still here. So as you guys also know, we're going to talk, give updates of 2 cases of children that were murdered within the last couple of months. That of Melanie Lyon and Kawan Bobby Charles. And so we'll let Gary go ahead and get it started. I'll give the update on Bobby, and then Gary, go ahead and give the update on Melanie.
Well, the update on Melanie is that the kids went for bond reductions, and Calcasieu Parish Court said no. So the actual kid that did the murder, I think her bond remains at $700,000. And the other 3 girls, I think their bonds are at $250,000. And especially with the one that actually stabbed her, mom was out trying to do a GoFundMe. I ain't to be played with. I shut your GoFundMe down. Get your money from somewhere else. Try a payday loan. Gonna make it real tough for you. Try a payday loan. So, that's really the update on it. Got to stay on top of it and make sure that baby gets justice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you guys know, of course, Melanie Lyon was murdered by 4 teenagers inside of a Walmart a couple of weeks back. She was actually murdered on January 23rd, which happened to be her birthday as well. Those teenagers are being held. They have a bond for the murderer. She's being held on $750,000 bond, and the other ones are $250,000. As you guys know, they require about 10%, give or take, in order to get out. And that's a lot of money for anybody to raise, especially now during the pandemic. But as Gary said, and I'll go ahead and say this, I don't advocate children spend the rest of their lives in prison, but I do not think that people should be able to murder in cold blood, brag about it, and then go home and have a happy meal after that. I do believe that they should pay. But as he said, the page was shut down. He made sure to that. You guys also saw, Bethany was a little girl's name. Her mother went on an hour-long live, lamenting about her poor baby. She's just a kid. She didn't do it. And, all of the above. Really never mentioned the name of Melanie at all. She cared more about the life of her child. And I guess, naturally you would, but she had no real regret or remorse for Melanie's life being taken from her in that fashion. And so we're going to keep you guys updated about that. But as of now, the 4 teens are still in jail. All right. You guys also heard us cover the story of Kawan Bobby Charles. Gary was also in communication with his folks. Weren't you in communication with his people or no? No, so he didn't have anything.
No, I know him. I mean, I supported the officer.
Got it. All right. So Kawan Bobby Charles was a 15-year-old who was found dead in a sugarcane field about 20 miles outside of Iberia Parish in Louisiana. Now, he was last seen with a friend who was 17 years old and his mom. They're white people. The 17-year-old's name is Gavin. The mom's name is Janet. When Bobby's father came home, now they had just moved to Iberia Parish. When his father came home, Bobby was not there. And it raised a red flag for him because Bobby never went anywhere without his dog, who he called My Baby. So My Baby was left at the house. A couple of days later or so, Bobby's body was found face down in a sugarcane field. It is said that he drowned in about 1.5 feet of water. Bobby was about 5'6". Also, his face and his head was severely disfigured. In fact, they likened his case to that of Emmett Till because of how he looked. It was, pretty similar to how he was found. They went and questioned Janet and Gavin Irvin, and they pretty much said, well, he left and we don't know where he went from there. which was completely a lie, because they were last seen with him. And then when more information came out, they said, well, you know, he was smoking on something and had something to drink, fell asleep. And then when he woke up, he was angry in an agitated state and he left. That was the last that we saw of him. Now, recently, as of yesterday, as a matter of fact, the coroner there in Iberia Parish ruled it a possible suicide. They said that because he had THC and alcohol found in his system, it's possible that he committed suicide by being in a psychotic state. Also, let me back up a little bit. Janet and her son said that Bobby was saying he was suicidal. And so I guess kind of maybe buying a little, I guess an alibi, or if you will. But so the coroner is saying that it was a possible suicide due to the stuff that was found in his body, causing him to go into some sort of a psychosis. Now, also, Bobby was found naked, and they said that the drugs probably had him hallucinating and taking off his clothes. So these are all the things they're trying to say happened. Now, just a few hours ago, it was discovered that Janet was arrested. Janet being the mother in question who was last seen with Bobby, she was arrested, but she wasn't arrested on murder charges yet. She was arrested on contributing to the delinquency of a minor and not filing a missing person report on a minor. And so I want to talk about with you all here just the fact that they're trying to rule it a suicide. They're trying to rule it a suicide, even with all of the suspicion that is going on with the mother and the son. And the stepfather has a role to play in it as well. They say he, was on, I guess, around them taking drugs. This is from another eyewitness. For whatever reason, he hasn't been brought in, I guess, for an arrest, but I guess it remains to be seen. But just the mere fact that they're trying to say 15-year-old Bobby killed himself or suicide by drowning in 1.5 feet of water. Let's talk about it.
I worked in them sugarcane fields right there in Franklin, Louisiana, over 20-something years ago. And one of the things that we needed to do was get water for the machines that we were working on. So they looked like little tanks. We had to fill up the water. The hardest thing we could ever do during the course of a day was find water in a sugarcane field. That it doesn't hold a lot of water. You have to understand they're growing sugarcane, so if any water is there, the ground sucks it up. So if they really want us to believe that shit, you gonna commit suicide and stick your motherfucking head and stick your face in some fucking water that can't even cover your whole fucking head. They gonna tell you anything they want to tell you down there in Louisiana because they full of shit. They've been killing black people since the beginning of time down there. And my octave went up because ain't no way in hell you gonna make me believe that the field that I worked in, them sugarcane fields, that somebody would commit suicide in a fucking sugarcane field. Bullshit. I call bullshit on this one.
I was following that a little bit, and I always wonder. Sometimes, it's like Dimitri always says, it's an appeal to authority because the coroner said it. It must be true, or whatever. But somebody please explain to me. And I put it in the comments. How does a person commit suicide in a manner that is so complicated that the coroner can't even explain it exactly? He's not sure, because we know, okay, if I'm going to hang myself, I hung myself. If I'm going to blow my brains out, I blow my brains out, and it's very simple if it's that simple. And it just doesn't make sense how they do that. But like I said, it's an appeal to authority. It's very prevalent, in the South and stuff like that, because these people have these titles and these positions, and we want to believe what they say. But again, if you just take all of the CSI out of it, just the basic CSI out of it, if it's a suicide, why is it so complicated for them to explain why this person died?
Because he drowned in a bottle of water. The equivalent of a fucking bottle of water. And they want us to believe that shit. But I will say this here, and whether you understand it or get mad or not, if that child was white, it'd be some Negroes in jail right now. It'd be some folk around here that lost their jobs right now. But he wasn't nothing but a little nigger kid, so it don't matter.
Yeah, and you know, we've heard, especially over the last year, throughout the United States, of different Black men and boys being found hung in, you know, various places, and they ruled it a suicide. And it's like, okay, all of them cannot be a suicide. Is that like the go-to for the coroner and the police department to say, hey, they killed themselves? Now, it's not unusual for people to, commit suicide by a hanging, but drowning in a foot and a half of water, that seems kind of hard to do, and let's say he did. Let's say he forced himself to hold it, like drowning is a horrible way to go. And so most of the time when you hear about somebody killing themselves by drowning, it's because they swam off into the middle of the ocean or, a big lake or something and just got lost or whatever. But a foot and a half of water, that doesn't jive. But let's say that was the case. How do they explain his face being battered the way that it was? How do they explain that? It looks like he was beaten about his face. And the pictures, if you guys have the stomach to go see those pictures, they're very graphic. They're very graphic. And that is not how someone commits, suicide. If they, especially they said it was a drowning, something in the water ain't clean. No pun intended.
And then think about this. If he's smoking weed, like they say, they love to assassinate a Black person's character with the stereotypical, he was on weed, here's a 15-year-old kid or how old he is. We're all on drugs. Our young girls are thoughts. I mean, these stereotypes that are not true. It ain't like white people don't do drugs. They don't smoke weed. They do this. The numbers are almost exactly the same. So this kid is going to go into a cane field of all the places he's going to go, where it's going to be difficult to find him and all this other stuff to commit. So it's so crazy how they have no respect for our intellect. It is just so crazy because that wouldn't hold water in, to me, any court of law.
Let me say this here, man. He went to a sugarcane field, right? It's where they found him. Less than 50 feet from the back door of the fucking house. And you couldn't find him. You say that animals ate his face up. Well, how could they eat the front of his face up if his face was face down in the water? Don't take a CSI expert to figure this shit out. The reason that this is continuously being done is because we've done nothing about it. All these years, from Emmett Till up to now, we just kind of take it and we run with it. Legislation does not bring your child back. I don't give a damn what kind of legislation you get done. It does not bring your child back. These kids that are being mysteriously hung, legislation does not bring your child back. Recalling politicians does not bring your child back. And the reason that this keeps being done is because we don't do shit about it. They can kill our kids and it is what it is. You see what I'm saying? It's just business as usual. But the first time you pluck the hair on little Susie, little blonde head Susie, all hell finna break loose. When little Susie don't get off the bus on time, all hell finna break loose. The Amber Alert finna go out. You didn't put an alert out for Bobby Charles. Bottom line, folk, we live in a society that is segregated, whether you want to accept it or not. Whether you want to accept it or not. I know that some of these people are your friends on your jobs, in your communities, but God damn it, man. Who was filling up them Trump rallies? Where these people come from, man? That's your friends. That's your neighbors. But you ain't got enough guts to say nothing. And the thing is, we want to, you know what kills me about black people? Even with Melanie Lyon. Well, what about this and what about that? You know, you got to understand this and guard this. None of that shit apply when it happened to your family. None of that shit will apply when it happened to your family. You're going to want justice at all costs. Demetri?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I think another thing that we need to, and Anthony Brown, how you doing from YouTube? He says, was water was his lungs filled with water? They said that it was filled with water. This is what the autopsy is saying. But another thing that we're missing is that it is a white woman in the deep South. Okay. Now we know that white women, especially when it comes to black men or boys, they are rarely held accountable for what they do. Carolyn Bryant is a prime example. The lady who was in question with Emmett Till, the white woman who said, he whistled at her, what have you. She, to this day, after she admitted to lying, is still free as a bird. And so she's a white woman. This white woman, Janet Irvin, in this case, it happens to be with dealing with a black boy. And so they're just going to take her word for it. I didn't see him. I don't know what happened to him. He left here. Now, it's also be said that she, this is not her first time having a brush with the law. And LaShawn, yes, I saw your comment. She was arrested, but not for the murder. She was arrested for aiding or contributing to the delinquency of a minor and not filing a missing person report on a minor. So not murder charges. But, she's a white woman. They're not going to, really... Or they weren't until it got national attention. Let's say that. They were going to completely let her get away with it. Now, let's take the flip side of that. Years ago in the early 1900s, George Stinney, his last name escaped my mind, a 14-year-old who was accused of raping and murdering two white girls, I believe it was. They didn't need a whole lot of evidence to convict him. And do you guys know he was the youngest person ever to be put to death in the electric chair at the age of 14? They had to, and what else they did when they executed him? He was so small that they sat him on a stack of Bibles. Sat him on a stack of Bibles in order for him to reach the thing to execute him. Now, you guys also know that the Obama administration posthumously pardoned him for a crime he didn't do. So the point that I'm making is they don't need a whole lot of evidence when it's somebody black is accused of doing something, especially to white women. But when it's a white woman that's accused of doing something to a black man or a black boy, it's like, well, she says she didn't do it. Move on. It was a suicide. It was an accident. What else do you want from us? But Ray Charles can see that there's clearly something fishy going on here. So you can clearly see that she had her and her son and potentially her husband or whoever he is had more to do with it than just giving him a ride to the house to hang out.
We too forgiving as a people. We forgive what they've done to us forever. We forgive what they continue to do to us till this day. And as long as we continue to do that, nothing will change. Nothing will change. Now, I saw one brother on here, I don't feel like going search for the comment, said that we don't have enough people, black people in power. Well, we don't have no damn power. So it don't matter who you got sitting in them seats. They ain't gonna get up there and shake no goddamn trees. They ain't gonna do shit. I'm going to tell you, you don't want to address this until it happens to you. Till it happens to your family, then it becomes the most heinous crime that you've ever seen. We don't want to address parenting skills until you're Melanie Lyons. You see what I'm saying? Then the parents kids that did this, you start looking at where you made the mistakes. See, we too forgiving as a people. Now, do I want to start a war? Fuck no, but I definitely want you to stand up. Our babies are under attack. They are under attack, man. And they done put the game, they done took the game and they done twisted the game so real that they put all these demons out here for them to deal with. See, that's why when I have discussions or we do forums and summits, I remind the people, as well as Dr. Muhammad, that these children, when people say we were the same, we did the same thing, we were the same child. No, we wasn't. We ain't deal with half the shit these kids deal with on a daily basis. Back then, you smoke some weed, all you gonna do go in the house try to eat up every motherfucking thing. Nowadays, you smoke some weed, you smoking Clorox. You don't know what the hell you smoking. Mushrooms. Man, come on, man. These kids dealing with a whole lot of shit, man. They dealing with a lot of shit, man. And then on top of that, they're not protected by us. We will not protect our children. We will not go to war for our children. We will go to war for our car. We will go to war over our nasty bitch. We'll want to kill somebody over our old man. But our kids, we don't want to do shit about it. They just fuck over our kids and we don't say nothing. Donovan?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on that. We will fight somebody because they scuffed up our white Jordans. You know what I mean? I've seen it all. But not only are we too forgiving, we're too forgiving when it comes to the white man doing us wrong, or any other race doing us wrong. But when it comes to our people, we ready to stab each other. We ready to shoot each other. Good example, like these girls that got involved in this murder. What was that about? Bullshit. We're ready to fight, kill, and stab. I don't care. I'm sure you care now. I think one of the biggest problems is we're also too damn lazy. Just like I put in the comments just now. We're too lazy to deal with our kids because it's too much of a problem. Oh, just let them go outside. I'm watching TV. I'm doing this. I'm too tired. But you brought these children into this world and you're supposed to guide them and give them a guidance so they can live a better life than we had. My mother always told you, if there's a baton, we're supposed to take that baton as far as we can take it generationally and give it to them and say, okay, you run farther and you run faster than we did. But we don't do that. We tell our kids, oh, just stay here like us. Oh, you pregnant? Oh, well, grandma baby, come on now, grandma baby. Brother out here having babies, ain't talking to him about being responsible and taking care of these kids. We're just too damn lazy. We keep electing the wrong people that come for our neighborhoods. We elect them and they don't do shit for us because we don't know their records. You'll be surprised at how many people that I have been highlighting in the Congressional Black Caucus. And then when I go and show people their records, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Well, maybe if you fucking knew that, your situation would be better.
You know what, man? Let me say this, Demetri. I want you to come right behind me. Our mentality as Black people, our shit is warped. And I mean that because I've told this to the generation before me, the older people that were in the 60s. And once you got what you wanted, your integration and all this stuff, you kind of became a punk. And we want to fight. My generation, we want to fight. Oh, you ain't got to do all that. No, we need to do it this way. You took the fight out of us. Some of us, not me. Now, we got to have babies, create the next generation. You didn't give us everything that you had in you. So all we can pass down is No, let it go. We need to stay calm. Your motherfucking ass wasn't calm in the 60s. You was out there fucking shit up. Now, yeah, they had a bunch of y'all, and I'm gonna be the bad guy tonight, Demetri. It had a whole bunch of y'all got your ass whooped. Walking in different spots and got your ass whooped. But then you had a couple of us that didn't take them ass whoopings. You had a whole bunch of us say, fuck that. Ain't nothing on that bridge I need to be on. Fuck that. We'll wait till y'all get through. We'll come through the bitch and tear this bitch up. But you didn't give us everything that you were supposed to give us. So now we can't pass it down to them. And now they're in the spirit, this generation that had the Bobby Charleses and had the Melanie Lyons. They don't have no fight in them. They don't have no fight in them. And I've told this to the older generation several times. And guess what? When I say it to them, all they can do is put their head down because they know I'm telling the truth. As long as you got to go to school with them, as long as you go piss in the toilet with them, that's all you wanted. So now we got to deal with the shit because you didn't give us the game the way you should have gave it to us.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And so I always liken that to them robbing us, them being our parents, because that's essentially who the baby boomers are. They robbed us of the struggle. And I talked about this the other day where I said they say first generation of millionaires rarely raise a second generation. And it's the same thing when we got civil rights. I call it the false idea of civil rights. Our parents thought they made it. We made it. My kids will never know what it's like to have to struggle. We're going to move to these affluent white neighborhoods. We know white flight took, place, but I'm going to move them away from the struggle, which meant I'm going to move them away from our people. I just want them to live a nice, lily white life. And then it dawned on them that my kids are still having the same struggles I'm having. They're just having it in a different neighborhood. They're just having it in a different school. And in some cases, it's worse because you send your children to a school that don't want them there. They were forced to integrate. Like I see the story of Ruby Bridges and it pisses me off. I'm not one of those people who see the story of a Ruby Bridges or in Arkansas, I think it was.
Little Rock 9.
Yeah, Little Rock 9. Where they were forced to integrate into schools. I am not ebullient about that. I'm like, why would you send your children to such a hostile environment? But that generation thought they were doing a great thing by being amongst people who didn't want to be with them. And so here we are still having the same issues. And I always say, too, that we don't have the heart that our ancestors had. We just don't. We don't want anything bad enough. They boycotted a whole bus system and a whole host of other things, and we won't even boycott football. We won't. My daughter and I, we were out today, and we drove by a Waffle House, and guess who the majority of people were in that Waffle House? Us. Now, we know that Waffle House don't love Black people. We saw a sister get choked out by 2 police officers to where her shirt came off, exposing her breast. We also saw a Black lady standing outside of the Waffle House watching white people eat. They locked her out, wouldn't let her in. She goes live and says, oh, they just won't let me in. Dumbass. We also saw another Black couple get harassed and get the police called on them in a Waffle House, but Negroes won't stay out the Waffle House. So if we won't stay out the Waffle House, we surely ain't going to try to do nothing bigger than that. If we won't stay out of these Asian salons, after they choke and beat our sisters, we ain't trying to really move the ball. We are in love. And as, my guy Jonelle always says, with the illusion of inclusion. I just want to be involved. I just want to be a part of it. I don't understand. Like you guys probably saw too, the school in Utah, they Black people in NAACP, they all mad because the parents wanted their white children to opt out of learning about Black history. And I'm like, who gives a damn? if white people learn about our Black history. We need to be concerned with what they teaching their children at home, and how you gonna be more mad at white people not learning your history when you don't teach your own Black children their history. So we got our priorities twisted, and we don't have the heart that our ancestors had. So there's a whole host of issues why we are still stuck in 2021 like our ancestors were before the false idea of civil rights.
And it definitely was a false idea of civil rights, man. I mean, it's not, look, man, it's if we had a time machine, I probably would get killed every time I got that motherfucker and went back to a certain part of time. You send me back to slavery, I could just see me sitting on the porch of the shack with my feet cocked up, 5 o'clock in the morning, everybody headed to the fields. Oh, Gary, you need to get on out there in that fields, boy. Man, my motherfucking feet hurting. I'm not going out there today, home, boy. Tell them people come on around here with that bullshit, man. Tell them come on around here with that bullshit. I'm not going. In the 60s, Dr. King, Brother Monroe, I need you to march with me today. Man, I'm not fucking with you. Last time somebody went somewhere with you, they got beat up. Why it gotta be like that? Why the fuck it gotta be like that? Why we gotta take all these ass whoopings every time we want something? But yet, they ain't got no problem, especially back then, with us going into their white stores and spending our Black money. See, that's always been the problem. It's always been the fucking problem. And we don't have no heart. And guess what, my good white folk that watching? We need to develop the same heart y'all got for y'all causes. We need to be able to fight the same goddamn way. But we won't do it. We will not do it. We got a lot of punk in us. That's why my queens, my sisters, be careful of who you lay down with. Because some of these nigga pussy just as big as yours.
Amen to that. I'm going to have to co-sign on that. And it's funny that Demetra said that about the integration part of it, because I remember going to kindergarten, and I was going to a Catholic school because my mom was like, well, you go to the Catholic school, you're going to get a better education. And fundamentally, she's right, private school, whatever. My mom worked her ass off. My dad, a Vietnam veteran and, died off and stuff like that. So she made sure we got a good education, and education is very important. But I can honestly say, and Demetra could tell you, because Demetra's known me from high school, I can honestly say I did live a very comfortable and privileged life. I have. That's why a lot of my white friends are surprised that I'm so pro-Black. But see, here's the problem. In that education, I didn't let them indoctrinate me to the white bullshit. Not only did I learn their shit, I made sure I learned my shit. And Demetra will tell you, there was a guy in our junior college, and this guy was from Panama, and it was a Black history class. You couldn't get into Black history class because all these white folks were in it. And, you're thinking, okay, I'm a Black person, no problem. That's an easy A, right? Fuck no. This guy was talking about, you better be reading. I dropped that class within weeks, okay? And as I get older, whatever. But it's just the mere fact that, again, if a Black person says something, we don't want to listen to that. If a white person says it, it's gospel. Here is what's happening in our communities, and we're not taking this shit seriously. Like I said, it's something in our head system. We got all these HBCUs. Woo, Kamala, HBCUs. Well, God damn it, where are the HBCU businesses? Who are they working for? Where are they going? Why aren't they coming back to the damn community and setting up businesses? And we're talking about baby boomers. I'm on their asses all the damn time. If you failed business in the civil rights movement, nobody benefited more from civil rights than the people who fought it. Other than that, where's the generational businesses from the civil rights era people? Where's the generational wealth from the civil rights people? But they want to sit there and tell you, be patient, do it this way, be peaceful. Fuck that.
Let me tell you this here, and Demetra, I want you to come behind me. Al, who normally jokes a lot, said something profound tonight. He said in Texas, black people aren't taught about black heritage and history. They're only concerned about the invisible man named God in heaven. Let me tell you something about what Al talking about. Over in Barbers Hill, you know Barbers Hill, right? ISD. That's where young DeAndre Arnold needed to cut his hair. They back in the news again. Why? Because some black kids had put up some posters for Black History Month, and somebody came through and wrote Black Lives Don't Matter. After the elections, you had white kids walking around in school with face masks with Confederate flags on. And we talking about history in school, being taught. Now, I've stood in a boardroom and fought for Pan-African studies for African American kids in the Texas school system. I've fought to bring Black history into the Texas school system. They don't want that. They refuse to even listen to us, and you know why? Because they're afraid. Let me tell you what they're afraid of. See, this generation here has an attribute about them that none of our generations ever had. They're fearless. They're not scared of shit. Have you ever sat in a room full of kids and you talked our history? I have. And when you sit there and you talk our history with these kids, they sit there like, damn, I didn't know that. And a lot of these kids transform from that minute. Because once they figure out what these people have done to us, because they've never educated them on it, what they've done to us and what they're still doing to us, their whole mentality changes. They're not going to allow our children to be taught about our history. How in the fuck can you ever teach American history in a fucking classroom and not teach Black history? How can you do it? How can you justify it? They don't want these kids to wake up. And they gonna keep pumping guns and dope into our neighborhood to keep them sidetracked. That's what they do. That is their MO 24/7. Man, these people full of shit. And when we figure out what the hell them went on, y'all gonna be just like us three up here. We ain't trying to hear that shit no more.
No, I mean, absolutely. And, you know, they don't want to teach that in class. And they know, and I hate to say it, but a lot of our Black parents are asleep at the wheel. They don't care. You know, as I always say, why would you send your child to school and expect white people to teach them about their Black selves? That is nonsensical. And they're not going to teach it right anyway. They're going to water it down. And if you really want to know the truth about American history, it is what they did to Black people. They never, I can't remember going to school and learning about the complete institution of slavery. Now, it might have been mentioned a little bit here and there, but they never told it to you in the way it really should have been told. But luckily for me, you know, I had very awake parents. And so I went to school already knowing. But, you know, I should also say, Gary, I'm with you as far as the young people. Anybody that I can talk to, especially my young nieces and nephews, they know, you know, Auntie or Tia, you know, they call me a lot of things, is going to give them the unadulterated truth about who they are. And that's what we should be doing. And I want to address Al's comment. Let's see where to go. It says, in Texas, Black people aren't taught about Black heritage and history. They are only concerned about the invisible man named God in heaven. Well, of course, we don't deal in absolutes. We know that's not totally true. There are a lot of people who were taught about Black history, but you guys live in the South. Well, I said, like, I don't live here now. In the South, and, you know, religion is huge, you know, and unfortunately, religion has hindered Black people from unifying. I don't care what you say. And the part that really chaps my hide is people will sit up in these Christian churches and listen to their Christian pastor talk bad about Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad, and anybody else who is outside of their train of thought. But if you really think about it, those people that I just mentioned are about Black unity and giving Black people the blueprint. But pastors in these churches want to keep Black people docile and not learning who they are, knowledge of self, because the minute Black people get true knowledge of self, They're going to leave those churches in flocks. And so it benefits the Black church and these pastors to keep Black people stupid to who they are, stupid to the point to where, and I'm not using that word to be condescending, but stupid to the point to where you won't even question the pastor. He could tell you anything and you believe it. And you know who I see going after Farrakhan a lot? I see Black Christians doing it. Oh, you know, he had Malcolm killed. How do you know that? Well, because the white people told me. So
let me ask you a question. If he had Malcolm killed, wasn't it a white person that killed like Jesus?
Now, see, you going too far now, Gary. You don't talk about Jesus like that. You know, no, they don't want to have that conversation.
Well, real quick, remember the episode of Good Times with the Black Jesus? Do you know how many Black religious people boycotted and were pissed off at that episode of Good Times?
Yeah, now Jet Magazine published a photo of Black Jesus. It was in the 60s, I think it was, early 70s. And Black people threatened to boycott and cancel their subscription to, I think it was Jet or Ebony, one of those magazines, because they put a Black Jesus on the cover of the magazine. So I get it. Either religion is, is huge, in the South. And I'm not telling people not to be religious, but when you can't see the fruits of religion, especially in regarding your people, we talked about this the other day. The Black church has raised over $500 billion, and that we know of, since the 80s, and the neighborhoods have nothing to show for it. Black people are not unified within the church. They're not. They, and I always talk about a religion teaches division. It teaches people to be divisive. The Christians don't like the Muslims and vice versa. And, it's just a mess. But, I mean, we should start teaching our people about who we are.
We out here and we educating the community. And I get to hang out with Dr. Muhammad quite a bit. Good pastors out there like Pastor Cofield from Good Hope, Pastor James Nash, it's several. Pastor Remus Wright. And the one thing we always say when we all together, that we don't spiritual gangbang. We don't do that. But my thing is when you think about religion and how it has divided our people, I would tell people, okay, if you don't understand the religious aspect of it, then go back and study Nat Turner. You might figure it out then. Why was religion so prominent on a plantation where you had total control of your workers? You'd beat the shit out of them if they didn't pick enough cotton in one day. Why was you trying to force religion down their throat? Because religion was used to control them. So everything that she just said, well, you do whatever the pastor say, religion was used to control us. And that's why when people, I don't talk down on Christians or Jews or anybody. But when people come, you need to read your Bible. I don't read the slave manual. I don't read. I done been there, done that. I was done with the church when I got sick, and I'm giving $12,000 a month in tithe, and not one cocksucker come see me in the hospital. Man, I'm not finna fuck with them people no more. I went over there and hung out with Dr. Muhammad. They ain't never asked me for no money. But you go to the church on the corner, it's money, 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 money. You got to buy your way into heaven. And that's what some of y'all are trying to do, is buy your way into heaven. So if Texas is all about religion, then it's a whole bunch of motherfucking Satans running around here politically then. Because they violating everything about the Bible on a daily basis. So they can't talk to me about religion and politics. Fuck all y'all.
Hey, I want to look at this comment by Lone Vo. Now, she's from Vietnam. She's a long time, well, not a long, she's been listening to us for a minute. She says, we are no color in my house. We're not color in my house. And all raised do having reigning people, that why we call life, we call all types of people in all praises. So she's saying everybody's, it's treated the same. At the end of the day, we all still have to make the money to live. It don't matter who the president is, or life is, life still goes on. Okay, why that is so prevalent, and I like that what you're saying. Listen to what she's saying, because, okay, I happen to have been to Vietnam. Racism is taught, and we know, Lone, and I'm not sure if you were born in the United States or, however your situation is, but we know there's a lot of Ameri-Asians over in Vietnam that American people left over there. The lowest Vietnamese person you're ever going to find in Vietnam has black skin from black soldiers. They are the lowest. Okay.
Man, you're gonna make these people shut us down.
Well, that's how they treat them culturally, because it's a cultural thing there. But she said, money. What have we been saying? Money makes the world go round. At the end of the day, to me, the point was the money. Lack of resources is what our problem is, right? But notice, and I don't want to go in on her like, oh, she did a bad thing. But what do they do? Well, what does that community do? You go to a Vietnamese restaurant or a business and say, hey, I'm a black guy. Can I get a job? Nope, family business. Nope, can't do it. Demetria will tell you, we have a college right here. It's called the University of California, Riverside. 70% of the student body is Asian. Most of your Asians in California go to this prestigious college.
Now, you said something about the Vietnamese businesses where you try to go get a job and they hire their family. I got a problem with a lot of you black-owned businesses out there. You motherfuckers don't hire us, man. Man, we need jobs too, man. Man, you go to some of the most prominent restaurants in Houston. I ain't gonna say their name, but y'all know who they is. You don't see none but Latinos in that motherfucker. They won't give us no fucking job, but you want to make money in the hood. Man, fuck them too.
Yeah, but we let them, come and set up shop in the hood, and that really starts with the city council. We don't go to city council meetings. We only hear about stuff when there's a sign in an empty lot, coming soon, whatever restaurant or whatever. And then we're like, well, how they just gonna let them do this, that, and the other? It ain't necessarily that they let them per se, is that you let them, because you're not involved civically in your community. You find out about stuff after it happens. And so it's going to take for us as Black people to be proactive and not reactive. We need to get in on the ground floor at the planning committees of these city hall meetings when they talk about, okay, well, whoop-de-whoop wants to put in a permit or, an application to have a restaurant or a pawn shop or 99-cent store, or, all the stuff they put in our hoods. Then we go in there and say, no, we got enough of those. We want a Whole Foods too, or some grocery stores, or some stuff, that we can really use. We're tired of our food deserts. We got enough fried chicken. We got enough egg foo young. We got enough of that stuff, okay? We don't have no more gold to sell because we done sold it all, so we don't need no more gold shops. We don't need any of that. Put some stuff that matters. And if you don't, Mr. Councilwoman or Mr. Councilman, you won't get our vote next time, because that's what every other community does. They show up at those planning meetings and, the city council meetings, and they let their voices be heard before it is done to them. So until we start doing those, we're always going to be driving through our neighborhoods and seeing everybody else set up shop and suck the resources out of our neighborhoods and take it back to their, house on the hill in a gated community. And one day I want to press upon you, if you're bored, you got a little bit of gas money, and if they'll let you behind some of those gates, go and see how they live. Go and look at their neighborhoods. And I want you to count on one hand how many pawn shops you see in their neighborhoods. Look and see how many liquor stores. I ain't talking about your Specs or, the Bev Moles if you're in California, these high-end liquor stores. I ain't talking about those. I'm talking about ABC Liquor in them. See how many of those liquor stores are permeating their neighborhood. See how many fried chicken spots are on every block in their neighborhood. You won't find that. You're going to find these nice, beautiful, shiny, glossy shopping centers and malls and these high-end outlets and fine dining restaurant, because they won't allow that stuff in their neighborhood. but we allow it, and then we cry about it when we go try to fill out an application at one of their stores and say they won't give us a job. They ain't supposed to give you no job. They're practicing group economics. They're supposed to hire their own. In the words of Nipsey, all money in. We not giving, because if I hire your black ass to work in my Asian store, that means that the money leaves our community and it goes into your community. It's simple science. It's common sense. So we got to start looking at things, strategically in our neighborhoods. Show up to these meetings and be heard.
I just want to add to this. And Dimitri, you were here just before you left. The second biggest grouping of Vietnamese is right here in Southern California, Orange County. It's called Little Saigon, right here in Southern California. They built their own city. Then they started coming out to my area, and there was a place known as Chino, city of Chino. Been there a long time. I guess the Asians were having some problems, Vietnamese. They said, to hell with that. They built a city called Chino Hills, high tech, all Asian. My point is, our thought process is fucked up. It just is. Why are other people doing stuff that we should be doing? Every major city has a Chinatown. Now you have the Armenian town. Now you have Koreatown. You got Little Saigon and all these other places. Where's Blackville? Where's the Black town?
You know what? You say a mouthful, because I told people this here. In Houston and surrounding areas, Pasadena, that was the Mexicans, right? Bel Air, that's the Asians. You see what I'm saying? Even the Jamaicans got you. Bissonnette, white folk, River Oaks. Where the blacks? Where the black side of town? Where we own something prominently in our neighborhood? We're sporadic as far as what we own. Third Ward. Now, when you think of Third Ward, you think of the Turkey Leg Hut. Thriving black-owned business, right? Outside of Turkey Leg Hut, what else? What else? The Breakfast Club. Going through Pearland last week, you don't have to even come out of Pearland to do nothing. They got every fucking thing you need. Now, if the Latino brothers ain't getting ahead of us, then Al, you tell me this here. How the fuck you rebuild Guffgate and leave South Park and 3rd Ward and 5th Ward looking like it looked? Guffgate was abandoned. They brought that motherfucker back. They brought it back. But us, fuck us, we nothing. All these folks do is use our communities to siphon money up out of it. And Dimitri, you said something I've been saying for centuries and years. You go to their neighborhoods, you don't see all that shit. But you left off one thing. You don't see them churches on every motherfucking corner either. You keep their philosophy with us, and I'm telling you, I wrote a song on it. Their philosophy, keep them prayed up, keep these motherfuckers drinking. So you're going to have a church on one corner, a liquor store on the next corner. If you go from 610 and exit Homestead just to get to Tidwell by 2 miles, 20 churches in a 2-mile radius. 20 black churches in a 2-mile radius. Is by design, and our people help them with their design.
Yep, and we don't understand it. And out of that same Bible that those people are supposed to be reading in all of those churches, it says, "My people are destroyed for their lack of knowledge and their rejection of truth." And so when they get the truth, but unfortunately, the truth is not the truth unless the pastor tells it to them. But when they get the truth, they don't want it. No, that's not true. That don't sound right to me. Whether you're trying to educate people politically or, about group economics and all of that. A lot of our people, when you try to say, hey, you know, there's a new black restaurant or new black store or whatever. Well, you know, how are they with their customer service? Because, you know, the last time I went to they wasn't doing this and they wasn't doing that. And, you know, and then black businesses, they got attitudes. You know, we find 11 excuses not to do business with our own people. And I can't remember who it was. It was either Farrakhan or Dr. Claude Anderson that says black people are actually pretty good at boycotting businesses. We boycott black businesses all the time when we decide not to spend our money with our people and go spend it with somewhere else. And, you know, other communities come and set up shop in our neighborhoods because they know they're going to save money on advertisement and all of that, because we just, you know, let somebody tell you, oh, there's a new swap meet, or you guys call it the flea market out here, open up over there on Martin Luther King and 56. I'm just making up something.
No, they shut our shit down.
But I'm talking about that ain't owned by us though. That's owned by somebody else. It's gonna be a line out the door of Negroes dying to get in there and give everybody in there their money. But they won't let us set up shop in there though.
But I tell you what, if what Demetri is saying is not true, and you don't clearly understand what they're doing, let's look at Greenspoint. Thriving. Them motherfuckers ain't stopped. This how they killed Greenspoint. Al, rock with me. You started taking you let it go to hell. First of all, you got to let it go to hell before it implodes. You let it go to hell. You let the crime go up. Then you started running the businesses out of there. They almost got it where they want. Greenspoint had one of the hottest malls you could ever go to. That was our mall. That was a black mall. Sharpstown was a black mall. That's what we did. But look at Greenspoint now. Murder rate through the fucking roof. So what they doing? Well, they had to get the killers in. So you started gentrifying other neighborhoods. You created low-income housing in Greenspoint. You forced them all out to Greenspoint, created a brand new ghetto culture, and it was all by design to make it implode. So now that it's imploding, you're forcing them out. You're forcing them more to Spring. You're forcing them further down 45 to Spring. Now it's wide open. So here come the bullshit. Here come the book. You ain't finna. And you know what's so amazing? That you do have some people that want to open businesses, Demetri, but they make it so fucking hard for us to open them businesses. They don't want us to open them businesses. It's a cold game, man.
Now we have this so-called stimulus thing. Now, and this is what I mean about thinking strategically. We have to start thinking. Matter of fact, it isn't the fact of us starting to think like other cultures. We invented the shit. We were the ones that started it. Civil rights in the United States was fought for and bled for by black people, and all these other groups came here, saw our blueprint, and it's taken it to the fucking town. Okay? We need to get back with that. Stop listening to grandma and mama and dada, whatever you call these folks. They're failed. I know people get upset when I say that, but show me where I'm wrong. Where are our generational businesses? Where are our generational wealth? But these people are sitting up there. You got to carry them out of the federal government because they won't leave the job in a damn casket just so we can get the position. But then the position is closed due to technology. So, it's like they're shitting on the generations that come after them. So I'm not saying that the Asians are better than us or they're doing this. What I'm saying is all they're doing is taking a blueprint that we already wrote and is using it for their benefit. We need to get back to that. Where are these baby boomers that know that blueprint? Why aren't they teaching it? We're out here to fend for ourselves.
We have to do a better job of boycotting, but like Demetri say, we know who to boycott. We boycott our own people. When you motherfuckers gonna boycott the NFL? When you gonna boycott the fucking NFL, man? When we stop spending our money, we gonna get the change that we want. And that's where not having the discipline and having the heart fails us. Because we can't win the battle unless that's what we have to do. You can get out here and have every forum in the world for police reform, all that shit. I know how to make them cops stop killing motherfuckers. When we stop spending our motherfucking money, they gonna want to sit down and change everything. Am I wrong?
No. Well, what about this 5-star? Now, we were promised $2,000 checks if we turn Georgia blue. Now it's down to $1,400. He said immediately he was going to get those things out. I haven't heard any black representatives say a damn thing, and we are content with it.
Ms. Demetri, because you know economics better than Gary Monroe ever knew it. He's not concerned with immediately. He gets his fucking money. He eats a 5-star meal every motherfucking night. He don't put gas in a fucking car. He don't live the way that we live. So all these people up there with that fucking around with Trump shit, none of them people struggle the way that we struggle. Whether you black, white, whatever, indifferent. Them people up there bullshitting. You can't survive on $1,400. But they think we can. And then some people feel that 14 should be less than that.
These are Democrats. These are Democrats. They took 600.
I really think the motherfucking ships that landed, like they said, in Area 51 and all these motherfuckers come from another planet.
But but that goes back to our point. We've just now been shorted $600. I know Negroes that will kill when you short them $50 on their weed deposit.
I put up a post this morning saying that so far since the insurrection took place on January 6th, it has cost the American taxpayers almost $500 million to protect the Capitol. But the people within the Capitol are arguing and debating whether or not to give the American people a funky $1,400 so they can put food on the table. And so I say all that to say is because we keep electing them with hoping we're going to be able to hold them accountable once they get in. How many times did we hear our people especially say, well, we're going to hold them accountable when they get in. We just need to go and get Trump on out of there. And now Biden, who is a big time liar as well, backtracked on the $2,000. It says, well, Trump gave y'all the $6. I'm going to come on up rear with $1,400 is a big fat lie. And Gary, you said something too in regards to them not making it hard for black people to open up businesses in the neighborhood, which is 100% true. Then we should stop shopping at their neighborhood, at their stores. Just stop shopping there. If we know they won't allow us to have businesses, then don't shop at theirs. Let them go bankrupt. Let them starve. Let them go open up all that bullshit in their community because it is bullshit. They sell the horriblest, and I don't even know if that's the right way to say it, stuff in our neighborhoods, and we go buy it with every dollar that we have. And to Vision, I think it was you. Let me see. No, it wasn't. I'm sorry. It was Empress Nelly. And how you doing, by the way? You says, just like they don't want us to own football teams yet, dominate sport. Well, especially with the NFL, we know that there's over 70% black players who make up the players at the teams in the NFL. Well, they won't let us open ours. Why are we still running the ball on their fields? Why are we still doing that? And so while we know that they will never, ever allow us to do stuff, at some point in time, we just have to throw in the towel and say, you know what? Let you guys go have the mayonnaise bowl. Let all the white players play in your games and all of that. And we'll go do something, even if we got to charge $1 a ticket to have our people come watch us play on the fields. Until we get to that point, we just really need to shut up, honestly. Well,
this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I see my man on here, Eugene Hall. And I'm doing this on purpose, Hall. I'm doing this on purpose. We come from a great high school, and last year I created the Hall of Fame at the school, and because I needed to honor the great ones. So I want to let Mr. Hall know right now that you will be a 2021 inductee into the Jack Yates Hall of Fame, my brother. That's from me to you. You earned it. You deserve it. You're a true legend. Now we can get back to what we were talking about. but you'll get more confirmation. And as we go along, y'all, through the next couple of weeks, I'll be unveiling some more. So you'll see.
I want to say this too, because I meant to say this when you talked about schools not having black associations, student unions, and all of that. My high school didn't have one either. And I started the very first BSU at our school. School had been around since the early 60s. I graduated in 1989, not trying to tell you how old I am, but I took the initiative to start the BSU, and I got told no a lot. And you know who told me no the most? Were the black teachers. Oh no, well, I'm busy, we can't do it. I'm like, yo, we don't have a BSU. They have a what is it, a Mecca or Mecha? They had the Asian Student Union, and everybody else had one but black people, and nobody seemed to care. And do you know who helped us with that BSU? It was a white teacher by the name of Mr. Hughes. I don't remember too many teachers that I had going to school, but I remember Mr. Hughes. I asked him as a last resort because all the other black teachers told me no. He said, sure, because we needed an advisor. We couldn't just do it by ourselves. We needed an advisor, and he just allowed us to do what we needed to do. He wasn't involved as much. He was there supervising the classroom and all of that, but he made it possible for us to have the first black student union. So, if I, at the age of 17, 18, had the tenacity and the willpower to say, I'm not going to take no for an answer because our students need to learn about themselves too, then surely we as adults can do it. The same thing when I was going to, cosmetology school, y'all. I got a lot of experience in a lot of things. Went to cosmetology school. My mama paid good money for me to go there, but they weren't teaching us how to do black hair. Now, of course, a lot of us black students knew how to do black hair, but they didn't have the equipment that we were paying for. And so what I did was I got a petition going and had everybody that was sign it and say that you all need to get us black students some stuff that our money is paying for, whether it's curling irons, whatever it is we need. First, they told me no. And I brought them the petition. Now I was 19. I brought them the petition and I said, here are all the signatures. Now, if we don't get what we need, I am going to the local newspaper, the Press Enterprise, and I am going to tell them what is going on at this school. Do you know the next day they called me in that office and said, write down everything y'all need. And we got it. You got to apply pressure.
Shalonda Stevens, all this money they're giving out, no one thinks to pull together and buy a franchise. The problem is when you starve a motherfucker for 8 months and you give them $1,400, what can they do with it? A lot of these people are sitting there patiently checking their accounts every day, don't understand the process of them getting this money to them. But by the time they get it, they so far in the goddamn hole, they can't invest in nothing but the fucking lights. Keeping the lights on, putting food in the house. It's not enough money. But we're the richest country in the world. But you look at Canada, who people ain't beefing about shit. Getting money hand over foot. $1,400 is no money. If that's the case, I challenge everybody that has to make that decision, give up your salary and get your $1,400 every 8 motherfucking months. And let's see how your funk ass survive.
Exactly. And real quick before we go, we get ready to get out of here. Demetrius is talking about 5-star. I'm talking about it. Ice Cube took his plan to the president. Demetrius, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm not hopeful about it at all. I think it's all symbolism. I applaud Ice Cube. You guys know I ride or die for Ice Cube. I love me some Ice Cube. And I love him for trying for his people, even when he had no reason to. He's got all his chips and dip. Why does he need to, get involved in our struggle? But he understands that we are his people. And so, too much is given, much is required. But I don't think much is going to come of it. I think they're going to, refer him to the Lift Every Voice plan, keyword every, which is an all lives matter plan. It's nothing more than a glorified affirmative action, which will benefit everybody else. But yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. They might do something, but I doubt it. We've heard Kamala and Joe Biden say they ain't doing nothing specifically for Black people, even though within less than a month of him being the president, they've done something specifically for everybody else.
Yeah, you know, and I know people say, well, Donovan, how do you make them accountable? How do you make them pay? I'm going to give you guys my opinion. As a political person, here's my opinion. Sit out the next election. Do not vote Democrat or Republican. Sit out. Let these bastards know that there is a price for not listening to the bosses. There is a price. Look at what happened at the Capitol January 6th. Those fucking senators and congressmen ran for their fucking lives. They let those people know you're going to do what we tell you or there's going to be consequences. And I think as Black people, we have to show them that we're serious. Sit out. And look, I'm just saying, do not vote Democrat. Do not vote Republican. Vote down ballot. Do something else. But stop giving this goddamn vote away, because this Democratic Party has shown you out the gate, they ain't going to do a damn thing for you. And I read that thing that Kamala Harris put out in regards to the economic council that they formed. There ain't a damn thing on there for Black people. By the time they got to us, it incorporated everybody. They start Black, it ends with everybody. So you guys better wake up.
Man, kudos to Cube, man. I wish him luck with it. I don't see anything coming from it. But like you said, he didn't have to do anything. He good. His family is good. It's generational with Cube. I mean, everything y'all just said, I salute you on it. I support you on what you just said, and I believe that they're not gonna do jack shit. Final thoughts, Ms. Demetri.
I want to leave off with Empress Nellie's comment, and he, I believe, forgive me if I'm wrong, say they don't teach these poor children Black history until it's Black History Month. Same Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, and I love them to the moon and back, but Black history is not a month, it's for 400 years. So when my baby asked to learn about Lincoln Slave and John Hanson, who was seen as the actual first Black president, my baby is discouraged to stick to the curriculum. I wish we as Black people would really stick together and rise. So John Hanson actually was a white man. There's two John Hansons. The one that and that's kind of a misunderstanding as to if John Hanson was Black. He was actually white. He was the first president of, I forget the name of the party that it was. So that actually is true. He's not Black, he's white. But as far as Lincoln, yeah, absolutely. Lincoln did not free us because he loved us. He freed us in order to keep the Union together. But I want to take exception to the first part of your sentence. You said they don't teach poor Black children or children Black history. Well, it's not their job. It's our job. And like you said, you're teaching your daughter, kudos to you, but that's our job to educate our children about who they are. You think Jewish people send their kids to school to learn? How many of you guys in school learn the Jewish, I forget what it's called, Havna, Nagila, Havna. We learned that in school. But how many of us learned, the Black national anthem in school? I didn't learn that. I didn't learn like anything specific to Black culture, but we learned all that. Feliz Navidad. We learned all of that, but we didn't learn anything about us. And so it is our job to teach our children about who we are.
Final thoughts, Donovan.
Well, again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the realest conversation on the internet. Please continue to support Black media. This is why we're here, because if we can get one of you people to think differently, we don't care if you agree with this or not. We want you to say, is what they're saying true? And go research it. Don't listen to what we say. Research what we say. And if you agree with it, then come on and rock with us. But again, I like looking in the comments. You guys are talking to each other, and that's a great thing. And I just want to end with this. It is true, Demetri started the first Black student union in that high school, and I got kicked out for having a bad attitude. True story.
For Conan, I'm just playing.
Say, man. A lot of people been in my inbox, man. Tomorrow's my birthday. and I'll be 53 years old. People like, man, what you want, and want to send you something. I tell you what, you can donate to my campaign tomorrow. On the show, you can donate to my campaign. Like I said earlier, we were able to get a major piece of electronic, whatever you want to call it, that we need, and it's gonna be hard to beat me now that I got that. So it was what the good thing about it is it was $640. Okay, they threw that out there like we didn't have it. No, we got that. Here your 640. We could put you on a payment plan. I didn't ask for one. That's how we win this election. That's how you get the people where you need to put them. It's gonna take us looking out for us. I may not be the perfect candidate, but I'll tell you this here. I ain't what you want. I'm exactly what you need. I can tell you that. I ain't what you want. I can promise you that. And you don't want to deal with me on a daily basis. And I want to send a shout out, Demetri and Donovan, to some good people up in Liberty County, Georgia, that had some issues with their school system. And I made a phone call today, and I told the lady, you might want to listen to them people. Because if you don't listen to them people, then I'm going to show up next month. And I say, well, just go Google my name. The lady that called me, say the superintendent himself, about 2-3 hours later, come to her. We need to sit down and talk and find out exactly what you want. Motherfucker, Google my name. I will destroy your school system with my eyes closed. I can promise you that. So I want to send a shout out to my good friends up in Liberty County, Georgia, man, and look forward to helping y'all and guiding y'all to get what you need for your kids and to keep your teachers safe. Okay, hold on a second. There we go. Yeah, so tomorrow we gonna be here. We gonna be talking. It's my birthday. If you want to give me something, you give it to me in the form of the Cash App. It'll go straight into the campaign account. My finance manager, she on top of it, and she was smiling today. And we out. We just, it's our race to lose. That's all I can tell you. It's our race to lose. They're gonna have to beat me in November, because if you don't, that first night is gonna be epic. Cause I'm gonna have on that Yates jersey with that hat turned backwards, saying "Let's get it in, man." I ain't come here to be a fashion model. I came here to get out, and that's what it is, man. Say, man, it's a reason we the best in the business. Every night at 7 o'clock, we bring that heat, baby. We bring that heat. I want to thank my man, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetri King, and I am the 5-star general. Hold on, y'all. Paul, I'm gonna hit you in the inbox. But congratulations to my good friend Eugene Hall for making the 2021 Jack Yates Hall of Fame. Brother, when I get through with this Hall of Fame, you in there with some good company, bro. That's all I can tell you. Thank you for what you do for the school every day. Thank you for representing. And to all of y'all out there, keep it gangster, bro. Until tomorrow night, we'll holler at you.